Tim, it looks like Merck just can't get it right. I mean, first of all, they have the Vioxx problem where they're killing and crippling people with Vioxx. Now we're hearing about Fosamax. Tell us what Fosamax is and tell us why people ought to be concerned that whether their mother or relative is taking Fosamax.
Fosamax is a widely prescribed drug used primarily for osteoporosis and primarily in women. But Merck's been very aggressive in promoting its use with women who don't even have it, who just simply happen to be over the age of 45. And what it's doing to folks is causing a disease, long word, osteonecrosis of the jaw, but broken down to its simplest terms means jaw death or rotting of the jaw.
Okay, so the jaw begins to rot directly because of Fosamax, the drug that they're taking. Once the jaw starts rotting away, what is a doctor able to do for a person?
Very, very little. What the best a doctor can hope for is to stop it in its tracks, remove the dead tissue so that the person doesn't actually become what they call infected with the disease, and they can actually die if it's not treated properly. So the best a doctor can hope for, an oral surgeon can hope for, is to slow it down, but you cannot reverse it, you cannot cure it.
Merck's not selling enough of the drug, so what they do is they extend that and they say, well, everybody who runs the risk of osteoporosis or a bone density problem ought to be taking this drug, Fosamax. And in fact, just the opposite is true. People should not be taking Fosamax, should they?
Well, there is certainly information out there that you really need to, if you were on it, I would really have a heart-to-heart with my doctor or your doctor because, for instance, if you're over the age of 65, there's New England Journal of Medicine studies that say, look, it's no better than taking vitamin D or calcium supplements. For other folks who don't have osteoporosis, there's no proof out there that it prevents you from getting osteoporosis. So, and for the people who actually have osteoporosis, the number of fractures it actually prevents is infinitesimal. I mean, it's like 3 out of 10,000.
Isn't the problem, hasn't it gotten to the point where there are actually dentists who won't treat women who are taking Fosamax because they're so concerned that if they do treat them, then they may be responsible for the problems that are resulting from jaw bone rot? Absolutely,
and that's the problem because you can actually trigger a speeding up of the process just by going in there and, for instance, extracting a bad tooth or performing a little bit of surgery on the gums. So dentists right now, a lot of folks are refusing to treat patients on Fosamax because they're afraid that they may actually speed up the development of the disease that's already underlying.
Yeah. From what I see, when you look at these documents, they actually show that some dentists actually have a name for women that are suffering from these rotting jaw that's related to Fosamax, and they call it Fossy jaw. Tell us about that. How does that happen?
Yeah, Fossy jaw is it's just a loose word that it's a colloquial what dentists and oral surgeons are using to describe it because you can easily link it up, and most dentists and oral surgeons who are seeing folks who are on Fosamax and who have osteonecrosis call it Fossy jaw, or they say it's Fosamax-induced bone death.
Yeah, you're seeing these advertisements everywhere. You can't turn on the television where you don't see a Fosamax ad or pick up a magazine, especially in women's journal magazines, where they're not telling women that they have to take Fosamax if they want to avoid osteoporosis. And the truth is, this is a drug that was not even created to prevent osteoporosis, was it?
To expand it to its state where it is now, a $3.5 billion a year drug with over 22 million prescriptions written worldwide, you have to push it on osteoporosis patients, and when that's not enough, you push it on older women who don't have osteoporosis, and that's how they went from a $2 billion a year drug when Vioxx was pulled off the shelves to a $3.5 billion a year drug 2 years later so that they could make up for the Vioxx shortfall.
And even though they know the problems, they know clearly that there's this relationship between Fosamax and this jaw, this rotting jaw problem, they continue to market because this really is Merck's new cash cow, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's their second largest bestseller in the history of the company. It sells $3.5 billion a year, and they've got 2 more years of exclusivity, and I don't expect we're going to see a warning until that 2 years runs out.
Let me tell you one thing for sure. You won't hear about the dangers of Fosamax from mainstream media because right now mainstream media is making so much money placing the Merck ads that sell Fosamax. But I got to tell you, from what you're telling us today, it's something that everybody should look at real close. They should talk to their doctor before they choose to take Fosamax. You agree?
Absolutely, because again, it's such a small group of patients who actually benefit from it. You have to make sure that if you're going to assume that risk of this horrible jaw death, that you're willing to accept that risk both knowingly and that your doctor really thinks that it's going to do something for you, not just that it might do something for you or that you're in the prevention crowd, because there's no evidence out there at all, Mike, that it prevents osteoporosis.
Looks like business as usual in the pharmaceutical industry, and just as we might expect, this is a Bush administration that doesn't even have regulatory ways to stop it, because what's happened with the FDA is it's become so stacked with basically industry lapdogs. Tim, thanks for joining us.
It was my pleasure.